Good afternoon, math students. I apologize that I'm not here today. I got called out for a meeting and it was kind of last minute, so I didn't have a chance to really talk to you about it. Today's math notes are 11.3 interior angles of triangles. So please fill out your note sheet as I'm going through this note sheet. Remember, the 11.3 paper notes are on the back of Tuesday's 11.2 paper notes. What we're learning about today is the interior angles of a triangle. The most important thing to remember is this piece right here. The sum of the measures of the interior, inside, angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So if I add up angles 1, 2, and 3, you will total 180 degrees. Also important to take a look at angles 4, 1, and 5. They all lie on this straight line, which is also 180 degrees. So not only do 1, 2, and 3 equal 180, if you combine angles 4, 1, and 5, you'll get 180 as well. Also, another important key piece of information is if you look over here, angle 4 plus angle 2. So you have angle 4 plus angle 2. Those equal one another because they are alternate interior angles. And then on the right side, angles 5 and angle 3 equal each other as well because they are alternate interior angles. If you look at BC as a line and this as a line up top, 5 and 3 are on opposite sides of what would be the transversal. But most definitely the piece to remember is the sum of the angles inside of a triangle is 180 degrees. So on this first example, if you're trying to find the measure of angle F, you take the two angles that you know, add them together, 61 plus 103 to get 164. Take that sum and subtract it from the total 180 to get 16 degrees. The measure of angle F is 16 degrees. If you were taking a quiz or a test, I would definitely add up 16 plus 103 plus 61 together to ensure that you got 180. The next example says the measure of one of the acute angles of a right triangle is 42.4. So I drew a right triangle. Remember, that's 90 degrees in the corner there. If one of the angles is 42.4, you would take 90 degree, subtract 42.4, and the remaining 47.6 would be the other acute missing angle, which would be this piece right here. Again, you could add up 42.4 and 47.6 to make sure that you got 90 degrees. The next one is asking you to make a conjecture about the sum of the measures of the acute angles in a right triangle. So I drew the right triangle. This would be the right angle right here, 90 degrees. You know this has to be acute and this has to be acute. If this is a right angle, both of these have to be less than 90. We know that when we add up all three of the inside angles of the triangle, it's 180 degrees. Subtract the 90 degrees that you know, you're left with 90 degrees. So what do you know about the acute angles? That they have to equal 90 degrees as well. So again, you take out the 90 degrees for the right angle, you have 90 left over, so I know that the two acute angles, whatever they are, they add together to get the remaining 90 degrees. This one is a little bit more complicated, but still totally doable. You're just solving equations basically. It's asking you for the measure of angle F, which is represented by the expression x minus 3. So the first thing you need to do is add up all three expressions for angles F, B, and P, which are x plus 5, x minus 3, x minus 2. Add all of them together, set them equal to 180 degrees. Now combine like terms. Here's an x, another x, and your third x altogether is 3 x's. But then what happens when you add the 5, subtract 3, you get 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. That's why I put the plus 0 there. So you're solving the equation 3x plus 0 equals 180, which is basically 3x equals 180. Divide each side by 3, x equals 60. But wait, you're not done. It asks for the measure of angle F. Well, if you'll remember, x is represented by x minus 3. So now you have to plug in 60 for x into the expression x minus 3. 60 minus 3 is 57 degrees. So the measure of angle F is 57 degrees. The most important piece is this piece, obviously, right here is once you get the 60, don't forget to plug it back into the expression. And they only ask for F, not B or P. For the close and check, It's basically asking you for what the measure of every single angle is in this picture. This is very similar to the pictures that we've been drawing the last couple days in color coding. I know that this is 95 degrees here, that's given. Straight across from there, we know those are the same angle measure. So if this is 95 degrees, angle 2 is 95 degrees. 2 is alternate interior to 7, so 7 is 95 degrees. And 2 and 6 are corresponding, so they equal the same measure as well. So 6 is 95 degrees. That's great. Now, how do we go back and get all the other ones? I know that this is a straight line right here. So when I add up 95 degrees plus whatever the measure of angle 1 is, the total has to be 180 degrees to make the straight line. So to find angle 1, take 180 and subtract the 95 degrees that you know, and the answer is 85. So angle 1 is 85. Well, angle 5 is also 85 because those are corresponding. Alternate interior to angle 5 is angle 4. Angle 4 is also 85 degrees. Corresponding to angle 4 is angle 8, so angle 8 is 85 degrees as well. So now you know the measures of all the angles in that picture. Before you get started on your homework, I just want to remind you, we spent back in topic 6 a lot of time solving systems of equations. I have given you 2 examples here. One is to solve the system by substitution. You plug in y equals 3x minus 10. Anytime you see a y in the second equation, you plug in 3x minus 10. Bring down the 2, you distribute the 3x, 3 times the 3x minus 10 through the parentheses, combine like terms, add over the 30, divide each side by 11, and x equals 4. But you're not done. That's just part of the solution. So now you plug it back in for y equals 3x minus 10. 3 times 4 is 12, 12 minus 10 is 2. That's solving by substitution. The ordered pair would be 4, 2 for x, y. The other asks you to solve the system by addition, a little bit easier method, especially since the negative y and the positive y, you can't see it's supposed to be positive right there, those are going to cancel each other out. So since they're different signs, you add them together. X plus x is 2x. The negative y and the positive y cancel. 8 plus 4 is 12. Divide each side by 2, x equals 6. Plug 6 back into either equation in order to solve for y. I chose the one that says x plus y equals 8, which is the top one. You can't see that plus right there though. 6 plus y equals 8. Subtract 6 from both sides. 8 minus 6 is 2. The ordered pair is 6, 2, which is the solution to the system. And if you kind of go back and check, 6 minus 2 is 4. Yep. And 6 plus 2 is 8. Yes, it is. All right. I hope that you have a good rest of the hour. Make sure that you get 11.3 digits done. And then if that is finished and you have extra time, highly recommend going back to make sure that 11.1 and 11.2 are finished as well. Please be good for Mrs. Allen, and I will see you tomorrow.